Hi AJ, how are you doing, mate?
Oh, Franklin, I'm bloody knackered.
Yeah, I know the feeling. It's been a long week already, and we're only on Wednesday, aren't we?
We're only on Wednesday. I've got the most enormous week of my life coming up. Woke up at 4 o'clock this morning, and if you were awake at any point around that time, you noticed that it was absolutely...
awake all night.
It was absolutely throwing it down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Get the bike out and decide to go out for a ride. I can't clip my feet into the pedals, so I'm just wandering around with like slippy feet.
Why, because you're still tired, or because of the wet?
It's a new bike. Like, I'm experimenting with a new bike 4 days before, and I just need to get.
What is it? An exercise bike, or is it a proper bike?
It's a proper road bike. It looks the business. It's all like red, and there's bits of chrome on it and everything. Like, very fancy.
Expensive?
Yeah.
Because bikes are expensive these days, aren't they?
It was expensive 10 years ago. It's probably still expensive now by all accounts, but it's not new. I borrowed it off a mate, and I'm just seeing how it goes. So
did it have an engine on it?
No, it didn't.
Should have had a motor on it. You know, you see old age pensioners now cycling up Parbold Hill really, really fast without gasping. You think to yourself, well, what's going on here? They're going faster than my car.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you realise they've got a motor.
And then they've got the electric motor on there, and they're just sort of pedalling up like a little jaunt.
Yeah.
It's
quite sickening, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it winds me up. Yeah. But I took that out for a bit of a stroll this morning. Didn't work out the way it wanted to. I only managed an hour, and I should have managed far longer than that. But it was throwing it down. It was cold, so I cycled myself back home. And then it was too early for me to go into the shower because I'd have woken up my missus otherwise. So I just had to lay on the floor, wrapped in a towel with a jacket over me as well, and just kind of wait it out.
I'm not saying you're odd, but if anybody had caught you doing that, they'd have thought you were rather strange.
Yeah, they would have done. I'd have been in the back of a van by now, being committed at Broadmoor.
Well, listen, just being involved with Scam United Football Club could put you in a van.
Well, exactly. You've got to have a bit of a screw loose to get involved with non-league football anyway, thinking that it's going to somehow turn your mental health into positives. It doesn't.
That certainly doesn't. We'll talk about it on the show, no doubt.
But I'm shattered, but I'm here.
So what were you doing? You were actually prepping for your triathlon.
I was trying to.
But I'm assuming that you're doing that early in the morning because you've got work later on as well.
That's right.
So it really takes up an awful lot of your time, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. If you're doing it properly, it can take about about maybe 20 hours a week. Which is a part-time job in effect.
Yeah.
Now, because it's the last week before I go, I'm doing a little bit less than that, but nonetheless, it's a lot of time being spent cycling, running, swimming, all of that carry on, and I'm almost. Like, I know that it's on Sunday and stuff, but I am kind of ready for it all to be over.
Yeah. Listen, you obviously our listeners can't visualise what you're actually doing now, but you're multitasking.
I am multitasking.
Come on, tell me what you're doing.
I'm marking my homework.
You're marking your homework?
As part of the show, for all of you who listen, you'll know that Frank and I do our expert predictions as to what the results are going to be.
Yeah, we call ourselves experts loosely.
Yes, it's a very loose turn of phrase. And as it happens, I've won the last 3 weeks on the spin because Franklin has failed to turn his in. 2 weeks on the spin.
That's not exactly fair then, is it?
Well, no,
I can't even find it now.
Well, this is it, Franklin. You've got to keep on top of these things.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, you probably can't hear me now because I'm turned around in the studio.
He's rustling around in amongst all his papers trying to find it.
And I can't find it.
Did I go for press?
You know what? I can actually find some papers.
Pilks versus Longridge. Yeah.
So how did we fare?
Sorry?
I mean, some strange... Listen, we'll go through to the results later.
We're going
to. But what else have you been up to?
Well, that's it, mate, to be honest. All I've been up to...
isn't it, really?
This is it. Brody celebrated his first birthday.
Right.
So Brody was 1.
Richard? Yeah.
No.
Oh, right. The dog, Brody?
Richard has a celebration, but we'll talk about that on the actual show. But Brody, my dog, turned 1 on Wednesday, Saturday the 13th. So we went and played a game of football, and then I rushed back home to have celebrations with Brody, which included doggy-friendly birthday
Sorry, I
cake.
thought you meant when you said you played a game of football there, you played a game of football with Brody? Take it no.
No.
You came to watch the football.
I came to commentate on the football. I came to work.
And you do a very good job, by the way.
Oh.
And we get a lot of positive comments about it.
Do we?
How difficult is it?
It can be quite difficult. I mean, it was particularly difficult on this one because we didn't have a team sheet for Nalgo. So I was just having
to... I sent you one.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No, you did.
I
Promise.
I've got to have a look at
Franklin.
it. Where is it now? I've got to have a look at that then.
WhatsApp.
So that WhatsApp, it could have been on the media team page, was it? No, let's have a nose. Just trying to have a look. I can't find it. Yeah, I sent you ours. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure I sent you the other one as well, unless it's on a... No?
No.
All right, I do apologise.
Yeah. So I'm having to describe Nalgo by players and by positions, which doesn't help matters at all. So that one was...
a difficult one.
Yes, it was a difficult one. But I think the other major difficulty is my throat gets quite dry because I'm talking that much. And the thing is, normal radio commentators...
You're used to that by now because
you would think
you're on this show.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You know what? I sent you the same... I sent you the team sheet twice. So I didn't send you the...
bloody good's that?
But you should have reminded me. I could have sent it to you.
Yeah, but not when I'm in the middle of actually talking, Franklin. So, yeah, as it was, it could have gone a little bit better for me. But
do people look at you rather strange and think, is he talking to himself?
No, because I'm on the side of our supporters. So the only one who was really looking at me was our strength and conditioning coach, Josh. Yeah. And once he figured out what I was doing... He was, he was aware and he was courteous and all of that stuff.
He thought the club had got to you finally.
Oh, I mean...
You start talking to floodlights. Another one floodlight was it was a tree. Was it a tree that you were leaning on?
It was a tree that I was leaning on, yeah.
And it was very, very cold and windy, wasn't it?
Oh, God, it was horrible.
And rainy.
And rainy, yeah. It was... Well, I mean, we had a mix of all weathers by that point, didn't we?
Yeah.
So thoroughly enjoyed doing it. Didn't necessarily enjoy the result, but, we had... couple of listeners in there. I think at most we had 2. Right. People will come back, it's fine.
Yeah, but it's all good practice for the bigger thing, isn't it?
It is all good practice.
When you're commentating on the games themselves.
Well, yeah, exactly. That would be.
Would you actually like to do that?
Yeah, I'd love to. I really would. Yeah. So if you are somebody in the media team, in the BBC, the ITV, Sky Sports, or BT, etc.
Of course, they all listen to us, don't they?
Yes, exactly. Can you inbox us at please give this idiot a job, Dalton Skelmersdale? So that's me. What about you?
Me? Yes. I've been busy more or less on club duties, really, more than anything, running backwards and forwards on behalf of the football club. Mm-hmm. Had a meeting last night prior to training with Marine. To establish a few little ground rules that I wasn't aware of, but no good. It works well for us. We didn't realise that there should be a stadium caretaker at the ground when we're on, so that helps us as well.
Radical, okay.
And things that we were sort of left to on the day that we weren't comfortable or aware of.
No, when we were ringing people.
Setting up the PA system for starters was one of them. How you collect the balls.
Oh.
Yeah, so they've got a understanding with the neighbours that every 6 weeks one of the members of the committee goes around to all the houses with a bag and asks for the balls back.
That's how it works.
And then so when I was in the boardroom with Paul Leary and
James?
Paul Leary. No, James wasn't there.
Okay.
Sorry. Richard Cross, their secretary.
Oh, right.
They were both there and they brought the balls out of the car and we're dishing them out and we only got one ball in the end back. So out of the 4 or 5 that we lost, we've only got one back. So I think they probably punctured the rest because we made the cardinal sin of going round ourselves to the houses, which is a bit of a no-no. And there was a little bit of a complaint. So listen, I'd like to apologise on behalf of Skelmersdale United Football Club to all the residents surrounding Marine Football Club because I didn't understand you had that agreement. But listen, I can understand it because people knocking on your doors every 5 minutes must be an absolute pain in the backside. But then,
fine.
I wouldn't move to a football house right so
No, for Pete's sake.
But then if you've lived there all your life, you wouldn't know any different, would you?
Oh, God.
So, that's what I was doing anyway last night, and then attending Training, and of course I think I told you
session.
last week that my mum was in hospital with pneumonia.
Yeah, she did.
She's back out now,
Good.
and she's recovering at home. My grandson Ezra, he's back out of hospital. He's
Amazing.
he's struggling. He's got loads of different allergies.
Oh.
Poor lad. He's only just over 2 years of age now, and I think he's got an EpiPen and everything. It's
really?
Yeah, it can get quite serious and scary
Poor wee sausage.
at times. So yeah, trying to balance life.
Yeah.
Work and football at the same time is a bit
It's challenging.
difficult. Sometimes you have to give way to life and
Yes,
breathe a little bit, which means that from listeners, I suppose we better get on with the show.
And so we're waxing very lyrical about bits and bobs here. So
Yeah, let's get on with the show.
all right.
Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly Football Show. I'm Frank Hughes, the chairman of Skelmersdale United Football Club, and alongside me is my co-host and passionate press officer AJ the Jet. Not that being involved with the football club is a prerequisite for hosting a football podcast, but it certainly helps. We are ready to dive headfirst into the vibrant world of non-league football in the Northwest, and we might even take a moment to discuss some of the bigger headlines in the sport. We'll explore life in the Northwest counties, bring you interviews with well-known faces in the league, and analyse how local teams are performing while making bold predictions for their upcoming matches. Nothing is off the limits here. We'll be diving into all kinds of topics, including complicated refereeing decisions and regulations that often leave fans perplexed. We want to hear from you too. This is your show, so don't hesitate to reach out with topics you want us to tackle. Let's get this conversation started and enjoy every single moment. We are speaking frankly. Hello and welcome to the Speaking Frankly Football Show. This is Season 2, Episode 12, and believe it or not, this is our 40th episode of the Speaking Frankly Football Show. And a warm welcome to my co-host.
Don't say it.
And
No!
the really boring, droning voice of AJ.
No! It's not how we celebrate a 40th, Franklin. It's not what we do.
No.
Hello, everyone. I'll put aside my fits and, I'll put aside my temper tantrum for now and say hello, welcome to the 40th episode of the Speaking Frankly Football Show. We've got a very much packed house as far as the show is concerned. So it's all been kicking off. So we're going to check in at Chadderton and Sporting Khalsa. We're going to be checking in on Glossop North End, Burscough and Padiham. We're going to be taking a look at the usual suspects, Marine and Southport, and who's the other team that we look after? Marine, Southport.
Well, we're looking at Bury as well.
Bury, maybe a bit of Clitheroe.
There's a few
a
couple of controversial issues knocking around the scene today. There's not a great deal of news, to be fair.
The Northwest counties as well. We'll have a look at. We've got Matthew Boswell, who is the manager of Telford Town. He's going to be rocking up in part 2 to say hello, and then in part 3 we're going to cover all things Skelmersdale United, where it's all been kicking off, and then we're going to have our fixtures, predictions and expert analysis on FA Vars weekend. Franklin, to first.
Yeah, well, listen, let's start with the FA Cup, because as we know, there was 2 teams from the Northwest counties remaining in the FA Cup. Chadderton managed to score a spectacular goal from their own half, or inside their own half, to pull off a shock win against FC United of Manchester. Matthew Crothers was Crothers? Is that
Crothers? Yeah.
That's the right pronunciation. So he was the goal scorer there. And the other team that was unfortunately lost was Atherton LR, which we suspected would be a bit more difficult. They were playing Macclesfield Town. So Chadderton's reward is a difficult away tie to National League North side Spennymoor Town. Spennymoor are currently 7th in their division, but this is a doable.
They're going to be relishing it, aren't they? They're a bit like Grimsby carrying on in the League Cup. They just seem to be knocking out teams bigger than them and just enjoying it while they're at it. Chadderton will be loving life at the minute, and they'll be relishing the chance to go head to head with the National League North side. So they could certainly do it. They really could.
Well, it's fair to say that, fair to say, but it's actually got to the stage now where you win your next game and you're in the first round proper.
Oh, God. That's really close to it.
And the big boys join it?
Yes, and then you start getting the pro clubs at League 1 and League 2. So all of that is in the eye line of Chadderton at the minute. What a little fairy story they're carving out right now. So, all the very best to them. This is going to be really good.
So moving on to Sporting
Khalsa. Sporting
Is that
Khalsa.
the pronunciation?
Khalsa.
So Saturday's game against Hereford Football Club was abandoned after allegations of racial abuse aimed at the opponent's goalkeeper.
Very disappointing.
Yeah, really disappointing. The match was paused shortly before 4:30 after the Sporting goalkeeper, Raven Constable, appeared to become involved in an incident with a fan behind the goal, first complaining to the referee and then confronting the fan. Hereford players were seen talking to their fans behind the goals before boss Paul Caddis waved them all off the pitch. Sporting issued a post on X explaining that there was a stoppage in play and reminding fans that racism and discrimination of all forms has no place in football and no place at Sporting Khalsa. A very emotional Raven Constable said, "I was emotional and angry about it yesterday. I was subjected to racist abuse. No one should ever have to face discrimination or hatred because of who they are. Racism has no place in our game whatsoever. And I'd like to thank my teammates, staff and all the people at Hereford for their support." Once again, we're talking about this.
Yeah, this is, and I don't know why. I hate the fact that we are, because we're having to remind people time and time again that it's completely unacceptable. It has no place in sport, and people wonder why we're still taking the knee and we're still having engagements with kick it out and stand up to racism, and we're seeing footballers of minority origin talking about their lived-in experiences as being on the receiving end of such disgusting prejudice. And you really hope that at non-league level, and particularly where there's less fans and by numerical figures, less chance of this kind of thing happening, and it's still happening.
I think what happens is at this level it can be heard much far easier.
Yes, it can.
I know it goes on week in, week out at the big stadiums. I've been a season ticket holder at Goodison when we were still playing at Goodison, and some of the language from our own supporters aimed at our own players of different colours. It just
disgusting.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable.
So we, as if it didn't need saying, but we feel that we have to. The Speaking Frankly Football Show stands with Raven Constable, stands with Sporting Khalsa, and stands forever against racism and discrimination.
Spot on. Listen, moving on to Marine.
Marine?
Yes, Marine. On our landlords.
Our landlords.
Yeah.
Our good buddies.
Yes, our good buddies. Following a poor run of form, Marine managed to make progress in the FA Cup tie as they brushed aside Newcastle Blue Star on the road. Now they've got a home tie against Buxton. Back in league in action on Saturday, they face Kings Lynn at home. Lynn occupy 8th position. Marine are just 3 points behind them in 18th. A win will rejuvenate them, and I would imagine that the fact that they've managed to beat Blue Star at the weekend as well will be a good omen for them.
Oh yeah, most certainly. Yeah, so they won by 2-0 against Newcastle Blue Star. They seem to make quite light work, if you like, of their northeastern opponents. So these guys, obviously, as we know, they reached the third round proper of the competition, entertaining Tottenham Hotspur in a big game, financially and socially.
Just imagine replicating that again. Wow.
Stunning, isn't it? But just after the hour mark, they managed to make the breakthrough through James Brown. I bet he was feeling good.
Yeah.
No.
I love that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Matty McDonald getting the second goal to confirm Marine's place in the third qualifying round. Obviously, Bobby Grant is delighted about it. Because he feels that Marine have done the job that they needed to do. He felt that the scoreline should have been more. Overall, they've come here and kept a clean sheet and delivered the performance that it's ended up being sort of highly delightful. Really,
I think you hit the nail on the head last week, didn't we? The problem is that Marine probably need a Bobby Grant type goal scorer, don't they? So that's probably why they didn't score more goals, and probably why they're struggling in their division to score them.
I think
so
you're probably right.
They've got an opportunity off the back of that win, to take on Kings Lynn and get 3 points and get them. There's hardly any points between 8th and 18th,
exactly.
So 3 points will take them into the top half, I would imagine.
Just makes all the difference, doesn't it? Particularly at this stage when Bobby Grant is still, not getting to grips, but he's learning the hard way what it is to be a manager at this level, and there's some creditable performances, but now they've got to be creditable results as well, and I think
definitely in the league
facing Kings Lynn's could be the perfect tonic. It's a home game as well, which we know firsthand what a empire Marine can build there, so you hope very much it'll be a cauldron atmosphere on Saturday.
Most definitely. Moving on to,
we're going to Southport now. So Southport had a bit of more of a difficult weekend when they drew 0-0 with Radcliffe. The replay took place on Tuesday night at Hay Avenue, which is Southport's home. Hague Avenue. Fine. And Southport managed to win by 3 goals to 2. So they are also in the third qualifying round, and they are facing Morpeth Town away in the next round. Morpeth are sitting in the Northern Premier League, so this is a good opportunity for Southport to go a little bit further on in the competition and get one step closer to that first round proper, which every non-league club wants to get to. They'd had a lot of chances by all accounts early on in the replay, which saw them through, but Port, they thought they'd open the scoring pretty close to the end of the first half. They'd found the header, found the back of the net with a header, but it was ruled out for a foul in the build-up. Torre, this is great. The match report with surnames only. Only. That's really helpful for anybody who doesn't support Southport. That's really.
Well, listen, it was a great win. Because they're not having a particularly good time in the league at the moment.
Yes.
The second from bottom, and they play Peterborough Sports, who occupy bottom of the table on Saturday. So it's going to be a difficult game, but you just feel that even at this stage they need the 3 points. Yeah.
I think
confidence.
It's confidence. It's confidence from the player's perspective. It's also confidence from the manager's perspective. I think we almost forget because we put more focus onto Bobby Grant at Marine because I think that they've maybe got bigger expectations. But Neil Dans at Southport is still very new to the job in himself, and he's got to get a grips with his team and also try and turn it around because they've not had a good start by any stretch of the imagination, and they're going to want to turn that around sooner rather than later. And Dan's has to try and build and formulate a squad which is capable of staying in this division. I know they managed it reasonably, comfortably last season, but this season's a different animal. It's going to be lot harder for them this time around.
Yeah, listen, I don't know whether you listen to it or get time to listen to a lot of podcasts or watch any of the YouTube podcasts, but I managed to take it in the Leggett podcast on Monday night.
Leggett
podcast, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And new club owners, Southport, Kieran and Dave were on the show. It was a really fascinating interview. Get the opportunity to listen to it. I suggest you do. But I had no idea before they took Neil Dans on that they actually interviewed Duncan Ferguson for the job.
Why on earth did he not get it?
Well, reading between the lines, I think it was just a timing issue. You know, they were asking what he wanted. They were telling him what they could give. I mean, we know that they haven't got bottomless pockets. They've been quite honest and open about it. But what they have done is they've cleared all the considerable debt that was at the club at the time. And then they've also said if anybody comes along with bigger pockets, they're more than happy to step to one side. But what they are concerned about and what they want to make sure that they do is not just to float, but make sure the club has financial stability for as long as they are there, which is to be admired in many ways, and probably one of the reasons why Neil Dans has got such a big task on his hands, because they've started off looking at young players, players that have got potential, and as we know, and we, to our own detriment ourselves, is that sometimes you need a few old heads in there. And I think what they're doing now is they're going through a process of discussing: do we need to release a little bit more money? Do we need to make the budget a little bit bigger? But they've got to be careful when they do it. And I so admire the way they're tackling it. I don't think it'll inspire an awful lot of Southport supporters, because I don't think it inspires any supporter when you talk about money and say, listen, we're going to concentrate on floating. People
they're just disappointed straight.
Well, they just want ambition, and ambition can only be fueled by money. And if you haven't got loads of it, then you can't bring quality to the squad. So I think they're toying with it. They're learning as they're going along, and they're making a good fist of it. But the good thing is, what they need to do is they need to make sure that they float in that division. They can't afford to go back into the Northern Premier League.
True.
It's tough to get out of. We know how difficult these leagues are to get out of. So I think if they were looking, their plan before the beginning of the season was to make sure that they stay in that division, get a year's experience under the belt, and then see what they can do from that point onwards. I think they've probably got a manager that's got potential rather than the ability, and you put the two together at the same time, and it doesn't always work the way you want it to. But listen, it's a great podcast if you get the chance to listen to it. Andy Grant is the founder of the show. For those that you don't know him, he's a former Royal Marine veteran, turned motivational speaker, author, and the fastest single leg amputee in the world over 10 kilometres. An inspirational figure who became an amputee after being injured in Afghanistan. So listen, if you haven't listened to it, and listen knowing your sporting prowess and what you've been doing and you're physically able to do it, it just makes you admire these people even more. So it's not often that we recommend a podcast other than our own, but certainly the Leggett podcast is very well worth a listen, and particularly that interview with Kieran and Dave. So moving on.
Yeah, so we're going to jump into the Northwest Counties now, and we're going to go to Glossop. So Richard Brodie, very relieved man. He notched his first win in 7 games as they beat Litherland Remica, although it took an 88th minute goal from former Skem player Joel Ogugio.
Ogiogo?
Sure, why not?
Ogiogo. He played for Skem.
Well, yes, I just read that, former Skem player.
Yeah, so I know.
Well, that's absolutely fine. Why did you leave me to say that, knowing I'm unlikely to pronounce such a name?
Because my mouth was dry and I thought I might probably say Oji.
No, you left me to say it instead.
I know. Sorry.
Rubbish. Anyway, that fixture was Richard's 100th game in charge of Glossop. His 101st didn't work out so well as they lost at home to Prestwich Hayes. We reported last week that they lost Lewis Riley up front and have a leaky defence. I've no doubt Richard is trying to plug the gaps as best he can. The pull at North West Counties, unfortunately, is money. And Glossop aren't big hitters financially. It's not the easiest place in the world to get to when you get off the M67. It's a hard sell, and that's sad because it's a wonderful club. They've got a great chairman in Dave Atkinson, and although they are an isolated town, geographically speaking, they do have a big amount of pull on the gates in the town. In fact, when they played Prestwich Hayes at the Asgard Engineering Stadium, I think that's it. Mm-hmm. They had over 200 there, which is easily one of the. It was easily the biggest of the Tuesday night fixtures. So they're well backed through the turnstiles and they're well backed in the stands.
And they do get bigger gates. You know, when they good cup runs and when they're doing really, really well, you can double that gate. And listen, Richard is missing Lewis, most definitely. He said he has. And he said, listen, when you're losing games, you just don't get any luck. We can share that.
Our entire season can attest to that, to be quite honest with you.
And he basically said that it was pretty evenly contested against Prestwich on Tuesday night. They're the best Prestwich side he's seen at this level.
They were the Prestwich side that gave. Was it Chadderton? Yeah, they gave Chadderton an almighty scare a few weeks ago. Chadderton getting out of that one. Was it Earlham? It was either Earlham or Chadderton, one of the two, just about escaped with 3 points against.
I think they were relegation dodgers last season, weren't they, Prestwich?
They were certainly down there or thereabouts. Whereas this time around they're looking pretty comfortable.
Yeah. So Brody said, listen, I need some more pace up front and a bit of creativity as well. I need some pace and creativity up the top end of the pitch. So listen, best of luck to Richard as he tries his damnedest to get through to another 100 in charge at Glossop. But listen, that's a remarkable feat in itself in this day and age, I think.
I would think certainly. You see more of it down at this level, don't you? I mean, we talk about people like Dave Pace and Brent Peters, who have been at their club since time in memoriam. But we forget that there are teams out there who have had their managers.
They both own their clubs, though. That makes a difference. But I think it's...
Who's being technical here?
It's difficult. Listen, we can't really comment about the longevity of managers, and we'll come to that later on in the show. But
Part 3, yeah.
It's, you know, it is what it is. I don't think many managers manage to get through the 100 mark at this level anymore. I think it's changed. The landscape has changed. I don't. Well, listen, we'll come to it later. But the pressure on a football club is far more superior to what it is for a manager. It sounds really, really strange, and from a manager's perspective, it's the most important thing to him is success. But then when you look at it from our perspective, we're trying to control a football club, 143-year-old legacy we're trying to protect. So when you look at other football clubs and knee-jerk reactions, whatever you want to call them, it's not easy. And it's very. I think there won't be an awful lot of people getting 100 fixtures under the belt.
I suppose not. So congratulations, Richard. We hope you turn it around.
Yeah, good feat. Listen, Burscough and Padiham. So we'll talk about them. Up in the top 5 there. Burscough surprisingly lost at home to Cheadle on Saturday, and they followed that up with a 2-0 defeat at Ramsbottom on Tuesday night. Sam Sheen was sent off in the 70th minute, I should say, and Rami opened up the scoring almost immediately after the restart. Sounds like it was a relatively close game, so I imagine really Dempsey he won't be too disheartened.
I don't think he'll be too disheartened by the Rami result, no, because Rami's achievements were, well documented through last season. And, I know Burscough have kicked on enormously compared to where they were 6-7 months ago. But I think he would have been hoping for his side to keep their discipline against the leaders, and something like that is obviously going to have major ramifications unless Burscough were to go really defensive.
2 yellows for context.
Well, yeah, even so. I mean, it could just be misfortune. It could, but at least it shows that they can rough it with the big boys. Obviously, Burscough finished middle of the table, and that was by virtue of their really strong finish to the season. So they are very much picking up where they left off. So by that score, Dempsey probably isn't too disappointed.
Now, leaders Padiham lost their first game of the season at home to City of Liverpool. Many people, including myself, had written off the Perps, but they're managing to win 1 or 2 impressive games here and there. Ex-Schem player Jason Clark scored the second of their 2 goals to take all the points. Well done to him. Padiham had a chance of getting back to winning ways at Charnock Richard, but they had to come back twice just to snatch a 2-2 draw. Now, Litherland are rooted to the bottom of the table. They've lost the last 9 league games, shipping an average of 3 goals per game. They've been knocked out of both FA Cup competitions as well. Fine margins from what I gather. Lack of quality in the final third being the major issue. Discipline, injuries and suspensions have added to that, but the consensus of opinion is that they haven't had much luck either. So I think we might see a bit of an improvement in them before too long.
Yeah, you'd certainly hope so. I mean, a couple of these games have been sort of fine margins, really. I mean, the Glossop game that we talked about, they could have taken a point were it not for a very late goal. Well beaten against Atherton Ally, but that's always a hard place to go. 1-0 loss against Stockport Town, 2-1 loss against South Liverpool. So these are the kind of games where fine margins make for defining results. But goal scoring is a bit of a difficult one. Yeah, so their top goal scorer so far has 2 goals. So Eric Durnell and Joseph Wasili, they both have 2 goals, and then they've got 4 players who've scored 1 goal each. It's not looking good up front for them at all, unfortunately.
No. I mean, I was communicating with Harry's dad, Neil, friend of mine, Neil Middlehurst, and he gave me the heads up there. They don't seem to think there's a great deal wrong there, that can't be put right. And a bit of a learning curve for all of them, but I think there might be an improvement before too long.
Yeah, that would I would certainly hope so. I mean, they comfortably avoided relegation last season. We never doubted that they would they would go down. So maybe their luck will turn. We hope so.
Yeah, listen. Moving on to FC Isle of Man. After the victory against Charnock Richard at the weekend, the Isle of Man were battered by AFC Liverpool 5-1 on Tuesday. It was a return of winning ways for AFC following 4 consecutive defeats, and it lifted them above FC Isle of Man, who are now second from bottom. So not looking particularly good for FC Isle of Man?
No, we talked about them last week, and that FC Isle of Man's board were going to be conducting a review of the club's performance towards the end of the season. No, it's towards the end of the calendar year, I think, that they would say. Where they would look and see what changes needing to be made. Obviously, it's really difficult on the Isle of Man because of the lack of catchment that they have. They are an island entirely unto their own, but you won't find many players travelling across air or sea to get there, unfortunately. So they kind of have to make do with what they have. And if they're having players who've stopped playing or moved on to the mainland, that's going to make things really difficult for them. So
you worry about FC Isle of Man maintaining their position within the Northwest Counties if this sort of rot set in?
I mean,
that said, though, they started off in the lower division
They started off in the North West Counties Division 1.
Yeah, South, I think it was. It might have been North.
South?
I think they might have put them South, yeah.
That's
I'm not too sure. It could have been North. Somebody will correct me on that.
The
one,
most western team, but sure, send them South.
But it is a difficult concept, isn't it, FC Isle of Man? There's no doubt about it. It's fabulous for us because, we're hoping that if we... Listen, sadly...
If they get relegated and we get promoted...
Yeah, we've got a trip to the Isle of Man next season.
We've got a trip to the Isle of Man.
Yeah, but
amazing.
Let's not
get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Still a long way to go in the season for both of us. There is. Anyway.
Yeah, moving on to Division 1 North.
Yeah.
Droylsden maintained their position at the top of the league after hammering Baker Borough 6-1. Nelson Van weighed in with another brace to take his tally up to 7 goals in the league. Caelan, Kilheeney and Kyle Campbell are also scoring goals for them. They seem to be getting their act together after 2 defeats in the opening 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that that Droylsden are going to be one of the heavyweights of the division. I think one of us had them down to win the entire thing. I think it was you, yeah. Obviously, they started on a little bit of a slip, but we knew that wasn't going to last for long, and now they seem to be up and flying. As I say, I saw their performance against Cone the other week, and they were class up front. Nelson Van is on a serious hot streak at the minute in terms of his performance and his goal scoring. So it's almost a little of a surprise that they are swatting aside teams in the manner that we expected them to. So they're up there towards the top of the table now. I think they are actually at the top. And I think they'll consolidate that over the next handful of games. But Maghull, they had a shock defeat last weekend at Fulton Cleveleys, but they've returned to winning ways. They beat Daisy Hill by 3 goals to 0. Last week on the show, you may remember that we conducted an interview with Daisy Hill's former manager Lee Hill, which was very well received and highlighted the difficulties from both a club and managerial perspective. We don't shy away from the fact that football can affect us all psychologically, and the decisions we make as custodians of a football club can have a huge impact on other people's lives. And we talked to Lee, and he was most optimistic, both about what the future held for him, but also walking away from Daisy Hill with his head held high, knowing that he at least left it in the better place for the long run.
Yeah, most definitely. Moving on to Nelson, they continue to thrive under their new manager, Aaron Ripley. 6 consecutive wins since Jerry Harrison was sacked, so that speaks for itself, I suppose. We're also hoping to get Aaron on the show soon and ask the question, what has he done that managed to turn things around for them? Yeah,
he has. They've maintained their position. They're in 3rd in the league. They secured their 5th win of the season in a local derby. They beat Cone at Cone's ground by just the 1 goal to 0. Max Kane getting that single solitary goal that lifts them up into 3rd place. They've still got negative goal difference. They're the only team in the top half to have such a goal difference, but nonetheless, you can imagine that'll be wiped out pretty quickly.
So moving on to Aston Athletic, down the bottom of the table. They haven't won a game since their opening day of the season. I think they beat Daisy Hill.
Yes, they did.
And of course, Daisy Hill occupy one of those bottom 3 spots alongside MSB. Walton, all 3 teams on 3 points. Not looking particularly good for any of them at this moment. But listen, moving on to Division 1 South, Runcorn Town topped the league following a draw at the weekend to Eccleshall. They beat Cheadle Heath Nomads 1-0 on Monday as well. Telford Town, after a mini blip, got back to winning ways on Tuesday with a fantastic 3-1 win at Stafford Town.
Yeah.
They'll be speaking to their manager, Matty Boswell, in the second half of the show.
Yep.
And at the bottom end of that table, Wolverhampton Sporting Community are in bottom place with Horman just above them on goal difference. Both teams again on 3 Points.
Hoffman still haven't won a game in this division, but have picked up three draws, most creditably against Stafford Town. They drew 2-2 at Stafford's home ground. So there is fight in there by all accounts. There's also goals as well. They've scored 18, which is more than the 4 teams sitting directly above them. So it may just be a case of when and not if Hormond start to pull it all together. But I do worry for Wolverhampton sporting community. 1 win, no losses, no draws and 8 losses all season. Just the 9 goals scored, which is a divisional worst, and then also 34 goals conceded, which is again a divisional worst. So worrying times for Wolverhampton sporting community, and taking into account as well the very low gates that they have too.
Yes. Listen, we're going to leave the first part of the show there. In the second half, we will speak to Matty Boswell, the manager of Telford Town. See you after the break. A heartfelt shout out to all the businesses supporting Skelmersdale United Football Club, especially T&W Garners and Pedro de Seda Enterprises. Thank you to everyone who donates to the club, supports our race nights, raffles, lottery bonus ball scheme and the weekly draw in conjunction with NYCBA. A special thanks to those who organise such fundraising events, with a particular mention for the incredible Lee Davis and Rowena Hughes. To everyone who stands by us both on and off the pitch, we are truly grateful. If you wish to sponsor the show, please contact me at chairman.skemutbfc@gmail.com, or alternatively call me on 077 66 054 548. All proceeds will go to Skelmersdale United Football Club. Thank you for your unwavering support. Hello and welcome to the second part of the Speaking Frankly football show, and a warm welcome to the manager of Telford Football Club, Matty Boswell. Hello, Matty.
Hi there. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, listen to what you just said off air there. You sound very much like an Aussie, but you're not. You just got a really well-toned voice.
Yeah, I think that must be the case, and I'm a little bit hoarse at the moment, suffering with a little bit of cold also after last night's game, which probably helping.
Yeah. Listen, before we start getting to the nitty-gritty and talking about you as a manager, you used to be Burscough's goalkeeper for a few years. Indeed, you played alongside a good friend of ours, Andy Barlow, and a few other ex-Skem players, Martin Crowder and what have you. And I was really, really fortunate enough to be at Victoria Park when you played Gillingham in the first round proper of the FA Cup game. It was on Bonfire Night in November 2005. What do you remember about that game?
Yeah, do you know what? That makes me sound really old, doesn't it? 2005. Yeah. It's one of the occasions, actually. Do you know, the club was a brilliant club. At that moment in time, Derek Goulden was the was the manager with Chris Stammers. We had a really great set of lads, and the guys you mentioned there, Crowds and Andy Barlow, both really, really good guys. Still in contact with them today. So we were fortunate. It was like the coming together of a top set of young players and an old goalkeeper. And a great management team with the club going the right direction. I remember the day pretty well all the way through, and you're right, it was Bonfire Night. Not many people remember that, because as the final whistle went, and I think we scored 2 goals very late on to beat them 3-2, as I look around to the goal, there's bonfire, there's fireworks going off all behind the goal, people running on the pitch. It was a great night. It was everything the FA Cup is all about. It was a great afternoon. Finishing under the floodlights, I think, made it more special as well, with it being November. But do you know what? I'm a firm believer that good things happen to good people, and that group of players were really, really good people. Yeah,
like you say, 2 late goals. You managed to get back on in the lead on the 89th minute. I think it was it an Ian Cox own goal. Set up a nervous finish then, but substitute Dave Rowan popped up to score the winner in the 93rd minute, and it went absolutely hysterical. It was a fantastic moment. I was in the far end stand with my dad and a few friends, I'm bearing in mind that I was, I think it was director of football at Scam United Football Club at the time. But I might have actually been chairman. I don't know whether I was chairman at that time. But we didn't actually have a game that day because the weather was atrocious, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a really bad day. We weren't sure if the game was going to go on. It was blowing a gale. It was wind, rain. It was really not a nice day. And we were in the hotel. We went for a pre-match meal. We were in the hotel in the build-up to that game. We still weren't sure that the game was going to go ahead. But Gillingham, having made the journey, and our pitch was pretty good. Fortunately, it went ahead and it played out the way that it did. And memories for a lifetime. Difficult to believe it's 20 years ago.
Yeah, listen, there was 2 players playing for Gillingham on that particular day. One was called Cox and one was called Ballocks. And if you know, the song coming from the crowd was "You're all a load of cocks and bollocks." do you remember that?
Do you know what? I don't. But when I played, I very, very rarely took in anything that was outside of the pitch. I always focused within. So I never really heard a lot of what was going on in the crowd. But it's good banter.
Yeah, it most definitely was. I take it Chris Lloyd was the chairman then, was he?
Yes, Chris was the chairman. Yeah,
sadly passed away now.
Yeah, sadly so, all too young. And obviously the club's had an indifferent history since that point, unfortunately. But hopefully, it's a fantastic club. I'm still in contact with Ryan Bowen and a couple of others. Hopefully they get back to where they belong, because I think people don't realise how good that club was, with the trophy win, the FA Cup run, pushing for promotion. It was a really great club at that point in time, and I really genuinely hope they get back to it, because for one of the first results I ever look out for on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, listen, you were drawn away to Burton Albion in the next round. The game didn't get played because of the weather again. I think Burton had just laid their pitch, and it was really bad at the time. So once the game had got postponed, you were into the draw for the 3rd round, and if you'd have been lucky enough to beat Burton, you would have played Manchester United at Old Trafford. What was the feeling like then when that draw came out?
Do you know, I never forget it. The other guy, the reserve team goalkeeper at the time, was a guy called David Noons, a good mate of mine. We were sat together, and the club got us all together, and the press was there as the draw was taking place on, I think it was Sky TV. And the whole draw went through, and I said to Noonsy, this is the last time. There's only 2 teams left in the hat. It's us and Man United. And it was a bit surreal, A lot of the guys, we never experienced that before. So it was very, very surreal. So when it came out, and I just remember saying to him, I bloody hope Man United come out first, so we have to go there. I thought that's a better occasion than bringing them to Victoria Park. And then, as you say, all hell broke loose in terms of press. The FA Cup came to Victoria Park. But I have to be fair to Burton Albion. On the night, they were much better than us. Adam Tong suffered a severe compounded broken leg as they scored their 2nd goal. And that really put pay to us. And I think we lost, I'm not sure if it was 3-1
4-1. It was 4-1 in the end. It was disappointing, but obviously the focus went on Tongi at that point, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember after the game, the result was secondary, because we were such a tight-knit group of players, and look, to see somebody go down, I was pretty close proximity to him when he went down. I knew straight away that he was badly injured, and I kind of stepped forward towards him and then refocused and went, hang on, the winger's cutting in with the ball, and he came through and scored. And yeah, I remember after the game, the lads were obviously going on a coach back, and then I kind of hung around in the area, and then the next morning went and saw Adam in hospital to make sure he was okay. And fortunately, he did get back playing, and do you know what? He missed a few years of his career, got back playing, went to Australia, and he's a couple of months ago played in the Senior World Cup for Australia. So it's good to know he's making them years back up now when the rest of us are all old and retired. And he's still enjoying his football. It's brilliant. At least
he's still living in Australia, is he?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. Judging by his Facebook posts, he's always in the sunshine. So, yeah, very much. He's definitely not in Shrewsbury, I can tell you that for free.
No. I was at the game myself, and it was quite a sickening episode watching anybody break a leg, but particularly on such a big stage. I believe Burton, if memory serves me correct, didn't Burton draw that game at Old Trafford and get them back to Burton?
They did, yeah. They had
they drew 0-0, I think, something bizarre like that.
They had to draft an emergency debutant goalkeeper, and they were looking up and down the country for someone that wasn't cup tied. I can't remember the guy's name, but he came in I think he got man of the match at Old Trafford, kept a clean sheet. They drew 0-0. And I think even in the replay, they only lost 1 or 2-0. So they did brilliantly. And do you know what? I mean, you never not look on with a hint of jealousy and think, what if? But also, we've got to count our blessings for what we do have, and the memories are something special.
Yeah, of course you do.
Definitely.
I mean, you had 4 great seasons at Burscough, but can you tell us a bit more about your career in football as a whole?
Yeah, sure. I left school at 15. I went to Port Vale. Started off at Port Vale, turned pro there. Then I had a spell at Barnet, and then I think from Barnet I was at York for a very short time, signed a short-term contract there. Before finding really, I wasn't getting enough first team football, frankly, because I wasn't good enough. And then I ended up moving to Sligo Rovers in the League of Ireland. It was a full-time club. The money was strong, certainly for a young man of my age back in the 90s. And then started playing first team football regularly. From Sligo, I went to Greenock Morton. And then I packed in. I had a very short spell at Kidderminster Harriers, and then I packed in. And I had no intention of playing again, to be honest with you. That was, I think I had about 7-8 years as a pro. I had no intention of playing again until Derek Goulding phoned me. And it was the days that you didn't have mobile phones so much, so I had a message on my answer phone at home. And it was Derek Goulding
You are showing your age now.
I know, honestly, it hurts every time I say things like that. So Degs phoned me and he left a message on my answer phone basically saying, got a young set of players, need some experience, need to strengthen in goalkeeper. I just need somebody to come and coach them and help them and just be a presence. Would you be interested? I think at this stage I was really getting on my wife's nerves. So she was very much, you should go. And then I phoned Degs back and joined Burscough. And I think I made my debut at Worksop away. They were top, we were bottom. We lost 1-0, played okay. And we ended up getting to the playoffs that year and we lost to Bradford Park Avenue in the final. And then for the rest of my non-league career, Burscough was always my favourite club. I had some time at Colwyn Bay, some time at Burscough, Bradford Park Avenue were the 3 main clubs. And then I finally did the gracious thing with the kids growing up. Retired and did what every frustrated goalkeeper does. I went and played amateur football locally as a centre forward.
Listen, how important is it to players that have been released from professional clubs to realise that they can forge a career in non-league football? I know you sort of semi-retired a little bit until you got back involved, but there's a lot of players that have gone on to have really decent careers in the non-league.
Oh, and do you know, it's even more prominent now because the non-league, if you get to the upper echelons of the non-league, if you think Burscough were in the Northern Prem, which would now be Conference North, the players in the Conference North now are getting substantial amounts of money. And actually, if you combine that with their day jobs as well and their income combined, is greater than playing in League 2 or perhaps the bottom half of League 1. To know that there's somewhere to go, to know that you can have a secondary career. If you work hard, you can be successful, but still continue with your football journey, and that can deliver a good income or a second chance also. So let's not forget that. I think it's hugely important, but I'm not sure the game does enough to help players realise their options and support them as they make that transition out of full-time football into what is normal life for the rest of us.
Yeah. Do you think the problem there exists with the fact that it's been very much watered down? Football, there's a lot of teams, a lot more semi-professional football clubs now than ever.
I think, I think there's an element of that. If I'm honest, there's definitely, players getting paid at low levels now. There's definitely more football about than there was. It used to be a very, very strict line between professional, semi-professional, and amateur, and the amateur status was further up the leagues than it is today. So, there's definitely more flexibility, and there's a change in players' thinking as well that, players will move club regularly now because there's so many options for an extra £5 or a tenner, depending on their circumstance. I think there's less loyalty, more choice.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I know you said you weren't good enough to make the grade as a professional, but by contrast, Paul Musselwhite was the first team keeper at Port Vale when you were there. Paul went on to make 692 appearances in the Football League. Kevin Pilkinson was their number 2 keeper, I think, and he was previously at Manchester United, so you had a lot of competition above you.
Yeah, Paul Musselwhite is a top person. First and foremost, what a goalkeeper. So calm. I learned a lot from him, not only as a player, but I think some of the stuff I've taken into management. His calmness, he didn't get flustered. He was exceedingly talented, and a really, really, really good guy and a good mentor for me. And he helped me a lot. And he's still goalkeeping coaching now. I think he's at Scunthorpe United still. So again, we still stay in touch semi-regularly and via social media. I think there was a good competition. There was a good standard of goalkeeping in the country at the time, with a lot of young lads my sort of age coming through. But look, you've got to show that consistency year upon year to stay in the game. And as I say, back then the parachute wasn't, the tail of clubs wasn't so long, so you had to work really hard to stay in that full-time game. Most of the nationwide conference was semi-professional. So the game has changed significantly, but I competed in the years that I was a player, and when you look back and you look at others around you, you have to be honest, and when you assess it, you say, do you know what, I wasn't good enough for that standard at that point in time.
Do you have any regrets about how your career panned out, Matty?
No, I don't actually. I think it would be easy to say, yeah, I could have done this, I could have done that. Do you know, if I could go back, now I'm 48, if I could have a word or go back and talk to the young man that was 19, 20 years of age, then yeah, I would have coached him to do different things. But I always call people Captain Hindsight when they do that. So I'm not really keen on looking back. My life's figured out pretty well. I've got a beautiful family. I've been married now almost 24 years in December. We've got 2 children, Ella, who's 24 and lives in Australia. We've got Jack, who's 22 and lives here with us in Shrewsbury. So, no, I think things work out the way they work out, and our job is to be the best we can be at whatever we choose to do.
I think it probably re-emphasises and underlines the notion that football isn't everything, despite what people like Bill Shankly may have said.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think there's things, and as you grow up, it's easier to get perspective because you've got more experience to draw on. But I agree with you, and again, that's probably the lesson that I'd pass on to the younger self.
What would you say? What would you say about the players that do fall apart when they're rejected by the academies, or the first or second year pros that are released? What do you say to them?
Do you know what? It's very difficult because I think a lot of people get sold the dream from a very early age, and let's not forget that professional football nowadays is a numbers game, and clubs are afraid to release players in case they make it elsewhere and then they get shown up to make a mistake. So it's very difficult. Players get inducted into a system now, which we never did, by the way. I as a youth player, I played for Stoke City, I played for Leeds United, and then I chose to go to Port Vale when I was young. But nowadays you're inducted at 7, 8. It's all that you're told. And your tour is academy Tuesday night, Thursday night, Saturday morning or Sunday morning or whenever that may be. And with that and the monetary gains in the game, I think parents get a bit blindsided by the money. And it's not, as you say, hindsight, it's not the be-all and end-all. But if you're a young man or lady, you've been in this system since you're 7, you get released at 22, you've known nothing else. And candidly, most of these have kind of not tried as hard at school as they probably should have, or not pursued other interests or developed their minds or in different ways. It's very hard because you're still very young, and everything you've ever known, all your formative years have been pointed towards football, and then that's gone. So I'd like to get involved in that aspect. I think the game can do more in that aspect. I think parents can do more in that aspect as well, if I'm honest with you. But it's very, very difficult. So if I'm talking to somebody of that age, I will try and speak to that perspective and opportunity. And the old adage, it's not what you do, it's not what you've done, it's what you do next. And I think just being there and counselling and mental health's a big thing nowadays. So supporting those players, but I think the system can do more from an early age.
It's a good sentiment. I think it's one that a lot of us share within the realms of football. I don't know a great deal about Telford Town, but I did find out that it was formerly known as Wellington Amateurs, and it was taken over last year by Hayden Dandos, the former Hensford Town owner, and then renamed. How much of an influence have you seen in Dandos' operation in how the club has grown to what it is now?
Aid's been fantastic for the club. He actually came in almost 2 years ago now, so it was the February year before last, so 2023. And we've seen a step change in the club. I think what I would say is we were on a very strong trajectory anyway, and the people at the club were all volunteers, and we're doing a brilliant job. At that stage, we were halfway through a 3-year football plan, and our plan was to finish 8th, 4th, and then win the league and press on. At the point Aid came in, we were right at the top of that league. In terms of, he was very clear from the offset, the change of name is commercially the right thing to do. Telford Town aligns us with the community. We want to be a community club. We want to really be at the heart of that community. So that was a very simple step. And then the structure within the club needs to support the first team. The first team can't be an entity within itself. So we've seen the launch of youth teams. We've got a ladies team, a ladies reserve. We've got a reserves team. We've got a development team, a bunch of youth teams going all the way through. And now we have an academy. So we've got a young group of people that are doing their college education at our ground, football focused, sports focused to get their BTEC. So the infrastructure in the club is building exponentially. It's really exciting to see. He's taken us on a very clear pathway. He's very honest from the outset. So from a club point of view, massive changes. From a manager's point of view, he's really supportive. Good days and bad days, because that's what football gives you. He's always there at the end of the phone for me. He's phoning me up. He's messaging me regularly during the week. He's really supportive of my decisions and the directions that I choose to take the team. He doesn't interfere. So he's kind of the absolute spot-on chairman. But that's also backed up with a board. You know, we've got a director of football, Mickey Baker, our vice chairman, Lee Mitchell, and various others. I could name check so many people. But we've got a group of people that volunteer who do a fantastic job as well. So the club is absolutely moving in the right direction. I'm very proud to be the first team manager.
Given that Telford Town shares its town and indeed part of its name with AFC Telford United, is that an aspiration to kind of rein them in a little bit? Because obviously they've been sort of towards the higher end of the non-league circuit for a little while now. When Dando took over, was it a prospect or a bit of a dream to kind of close that gap and make Telford Town a bigger name within the town of Telford itself?
Yeah, definitely within the town of Telford itself and Shropshire and the surrounding areas. I think you've got Shrewsbury Town, the primary club in the county. You've got AFC Telford.
Sure.
But there's a space that's alongside that, and we would like to shoot for that space. Now, if we can become bigger than AFC Telford, that would be amazing. But do you know what? They're so established, so far ahead, that will also be difficult. But if you look at the attendances we're dragging at the moment, I think we're averaging over, I think it's about 300, 350 people every game, by far and away the top in our division. The interactions, the social media, the interactions with communities. You know, our first team players are going into schools and doing talks and supporting charity events. We're growing all the time, and the affiliation that the community is feeling with the club is growing all the time. And we'd like to get I think sensibly, as big as we can whilst living within our means.
Well, listen, you've mentioned the fact that you've got a junior academy, and the club now boasts over 30 teams. Are you confident that infrastructure can work at that level? And in comparison to AFC, are they doing the same, or are you sort of excelling in that area compared to them?
I think we're certainly excelling when it comes to growth plans. I don't know how many teams they run, if I'm completely honest. When it comes to football, I try and focus on what we're doing. And we're definitely, excelling in terms of growth. We'll be the biggest growing team in a club in the county. Is it sustainable? Yes. What we need is facilities, which there's a big shortage of in Shropshire. So that's going to be one challenge. So how far you can push without actual set facilities that the teams can utilise. But apart from that, there's really no limitation to what we can do. But I'm absolutely confident in the model we've got at the moment and the direction that we're travelling in. It will continue to grow and it will grow sustainably. So we're not we're giving everybody opportunities for the future.
Brilliant. Listen, last season you won the treble, lifting the West Midlands Regional League Premier Division in 2024-25, losing just once all season, being unbeaten at home, scoring 95 goals and conceding just 15. You returned the Powell Cup, beating Hormond in the final. And listen, we mentioned Hormond. What's the correct pronunciation of Hormond?
Yeah, Hormond, you're absolutely right. It's Hormond.
Right.
All right, we got there in the end. So listen, you beat them on penalties after a 0-0 draw before going on to lift the Shropshire Challenge Cup against Dawley Town 2-1. With goals from Jordan Jones and Rune Corinaldi. What's his name?
Rune Corinaldi.
When you add all those things together, isn't really surprised that Telford are doing so well this season in Division 1 south of the North West Counties.
No, I think right now, if I'm going to be absolutely candid, our points tally is probably greater than our performances warrant, and I think we've got scope for improvement. I'm not surprised we're up there because we have momentum from last season. I wasn't surprised we won that last year because we had momentum from the season before. We've gradually built a group of players here and we'll continue to refine it and develop it to be the best it can be. I don't agree and I don't believe in using players. I don't agree with quick fixes and bringing people in who are not part of the squad because they play in higher leagues for certain games. We're not that club. We have a very, very, very close-knit group of players. They all understand that they play a part in the squad. If they're not in the team on a match day, there's a part in the squad. We all stick together, and that's kind of our super strength. And we built it slowly, year on year on year. So, no, I'm not surprised at where we're at currently, but I think there's still a lot of improvement to come. And we'll be working really, really hard to deliver that improvement.
How do you compare in terms of budgets with the rest of the league?
I honestly don't know. I could guess. I would imagine Stafford Town would be up there. Eccleshall would be up there. I'd imagine Runcorn, maybe Stockport will be up there. I don't know. More budget than some, less budget than others. I would imagine we're in the top half. But I have no insight because I don't really go shopping for lots of players and engage in lots of conversations. We're really keen that we don't get players that way. Players that sign for us are usually players that we've had good long conversations with or watched over a period of time, and I'm more interested in the character than the player. Because if they're a half decent player or a good player, so long as they're the right character and will fit the squad and want to learn, I believe we've got the infrastructure to help make them better. So we focus very much on the character. Again, I try not to look at what other clubs are doing.
But do you think budgets eventually will make a difference in terms of how far you can get? Because you get into the Northwest Counties Premier League, there's talks of some players being on anywhere between £300 and £400. It's mind-boggling.
And this is where the infrastructure has got to take place. Sustainability, and within that sustainability, you can't make money off youth teams. We do not believe in making any money off youth teams. So all of the other stuff around the club, the generation from the bar, the gate, etc., has to start or continue to fund that development. But absolutely right, there's a ceiling to everything, and budgets definitely play a part. The further up you go, the more the budget's impact. If you write at the top of the game, the Premier League, you can more or less write the ladder of where people will finish depending on their budget. and that's reality. And I think the same would be said if you went to the Nationwide Conference or the Conference North. The top 3 or 4 will be the top 3 or 4 budgets because they can buy in players, so long as they're in a geographical situation that they've got enough call on players locally. If you've got the talent pool local, you can buy it.
Mm. So what's the aim for you then with Telford this season? How far can you get?
I don't know is the honest answer to that question. I think if we continue to improve and we stick together, I think we can make playoffs realistically. If we in the top 5, which I think will be a really good performance in a league we don't know, against opposition we don't know. It's all new to our players. So I think we can make top 5. In the playoffs, anything can happen, or if we're lucky enough to be the number 1 of that 5 and win the league, go up, that would be amazing. Next year, I think, is a more realistic opportunity to go up. So right now, it's enjoy the journey, get as good as we can be, see where that takes us, get as many points a game, take it one at a time. All the cliches, but actually reality, I don't look at leagues. I don't really look at fixtures. I just look at what we got Saturday, what we got Tuesday, and we just work and plan for that. And at the end of the season, if the accumulation is enough, then brilliant. But one thing I know in this league is any team can beat any other. If you dip slightly, you'll lose. And if other teams raise their game, they generally have every opportunity to beat you.
Yeah, listen, suppose me next question a little bit like in terms of going up, because if you manage to get promoted this season, there's no guarantee that you would go into the Northwest Counties Premier Division anyway. It could be you could be end up in the Midlands League. Is there a preference?
No, honestly, if anybody can tell me how the FA decide how they work that, I would love to hear it. But you're right, we could switch over to either. Ironically, because of the clubs in the league we're in now, the travelling in the Northwest Counties is less than it would have been if we'd been promoted to the Midland League.
Yeah,
so I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it looks like next year, but what I would say is when you're trying to attract players and your club's based in Shropshire, travel is a really big factor in people's decision making. So it depends. We'd have to look at the geography and the journeys between leagues, but I'm not even anywhere in that space right now.
Well, you clearly sound like you're enjoying it. You're very focused, and the club seems to be getting really well run off the field. How do you relax away from football once that final whistle is blown? What do you do to relax?
I actually don't. We said last night we played Stafford Town last night. I actually don't get too het up in the moment anyway. I'm pretty calm. I think last night I was the calmest person in that ground. People jumping around, and I actually just watch it and take it in, really. I try not to react. If something goes well, don't react too much. If something doesn't go well, don't react because you don't want to pass that onto the pitch. I like the team to play with some calmness amongst the chaos as well. And then when I'm away from football, I generally do some running, go to the gym. I've got a young Labrador, go and walk in with my wife and just generally just spend family time and switch off as much as I can.
You don't fancy entering an Ironman competition with AJ then, because he's doing one on, is it Saturday or Sunday? Sunday.
Mate, I'm going to leave him to that one completely. That's definitely not got my name on.
Yeah. So listen, you had that terrific victory. I mean, if you were looking at key moments in the season and you're successful enough to get promotion, you'd look back on the victory against Stafford Town as probably one of the highlights so far in the season.
Yeah, do you know what? They're a really good team as well. We're quite fortunate. We know quite a lot about them. We had them watched. We had the opportunity to have them watched because we had a free week on Saturday. So I had a bit of a dossier on them, and we've got Ethan Greer, who's an ex-Stafford Town player. So I had a bit of a dossier on them. So we actually met at the club on Monday evening to do a video review. Myself, the coaches and all the players. And then we went out onto the pitch and we did some shape and we structured how we were going to play. And then last night, the players were fantastic, really good. We scored some wonderful goals, but notwithstanding, we played some really nice football. And outside of the first 20 minutes, really dominated the game. But I don't think many teams will go to Stafford Town and get a result, positive result. They're a very good team. They've got some excellent players. They've got one of the best players in the league in Matthew Hersey. It was a really difficult place to go. Midweek makes it almost more difficult because you've got players travelling from work. But the players did fantastically well. The coaches executed. We had a good vibe around the camp in terms of calmness, but steely focus, and overall we deserved that result. So yeah, really pleased, and maybe we'll look back and say, yeah, that was a big night.
Yeah, listen, I don't know what the attendance was last night, because it doesn't say in the North West Counties.
It's 137.
Oh right, does it?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it'd have been a much bigger crowd for local derbies.
It was at home. It was.
No, I think most were Telford fans, from what I could hear.
Yeah. All right, brilliant. Listen, what's next for you then, Matty?
I don't know. I'd just be the best manager and leader that I can for this group of people and this group of players for as long as they want me, and we'll just see. I have ambition to go as far as my capability will allow. I don't know where that ceiling is yet, but right now I'm just focused on Telford Town, right here, right now. What can we achieve? Let's be the best we can be and see where that takes us.
Did you actually see yourself as a manager when you retired from football?
Absolutely not. No. Not in a million years. I only got into it, to be honest, because my son was playing youth football, and it was kind of a half decent level. It was called MJPL on a Saturday morning, and the manager, his attitude with the players wasn't particularly good. They weren't enjoying it, and my wife basically said, "Well, if you think you can do better, do it yourself." So I did, and that group of players, I took them all the way through from under 12s to under 18s, then into adult football, and then fortunately Wellington Amateurs at the time asked me to become their first team manager. We've got a plan in place, and we're in the middle of developing the next plan.
Yeah. Where are you this weekend, by the way?
Good question. We have Wolves Casuals away.
Is that in the FA Vars?
No, that's the league match. So
right.
We did have a free week, but we've been allocated a league game. So Wolves Casuals, again, I don't know too much about them, but I'll do my research over the next couple of days. We'll go to training tomorrow night and see if we can put together a plan that gets us a result. But it'll be a tough game. Every game in this division seems to be pretty tough.
Yeah, listen, you're doing an absolutely fabulous job at Telford Town. Long may it continue. All the best for the rest of the season. It's been great having you on the show. Thanks very much, Matt.
No, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And keep up the good work on the podcast.
You're welcome.
Matty.
Thank you.
Take
Cheers. A heartfelt shout out to all the businesses supporting Skelmersdale United Football Club, especially T&W Garners and Pedro de Seda Enterprises. Thank you to everyone who donates to the club, supports our race nights, raffles, lottery bonus ball scheme, and the weekly draw in conjunction with NYCBA. A special thanks to those who organise such fundraising events, with a particular mention for the incredible Lee Davis and Rowena Hughes. To everyone who stands by us both on and off the pitch, we are truly grateful. If you wish to sponsor the show, please contact me at chairman.skemutdfc@gmail.com, or alternatively call me on 077 66054 548. All proceeds will go to Skelmersdale United Football Club. Thank you for your unwavering support. Hello and welcome to the third and final part of the Speaking Frankly show. That was a fascinating interview with Matty.
What a brilliant guest Matt Boswell is. You can tell he's really, really passionate about what he does. So exciting, that project that they've got going on over at Telford Town. You know, he's thoroughly behind it. He's got a great support network in there, and it seems like this team is just on the up and up and up. Made a great start in the Division 1, in the Division 1 South. Had that amazing win over Stafford Town the other night. So they're just kicking on and they're starting to go places. I can really see them sort of getting up and beyond.
It's a great setup, isn't it? There's no doubt about it. They're working in the right direction.
Yeah.
And what was interesting but was off mic was the fact that we realised that Matty had actually played at the old Stormy Corner, our first season at Stormy Corner when we played in I think it was the second qualifying round of the FA Cup. We were winning 2-0 and Burscough managed to get it back to 3-2. But we didn't realise that Matty had played that game myself.
Ugh, well, can't hate him for it now. It's all in the past.
Yeah,
it's all in the past.
So, yeah, good luck to Matty Boswell.
Most certainly, good luck to Matty Boswell. Yeah, absolutely.
And great club by the sounds of things.
They certainly are. So, as regards to Matty Boswell and Telford Town, they're not in cup action this weekend. They've got a domestic league game when they visit Wolverhampton Casuals at the Brinsford Stadium. To all intents and purposes, I think that's going to be a win for Telford. But we'll go through that a little bit later on. We will go through the results in the divisions. We're going to start with we mentioned it earlier on in the show, but AFC Liverpool, as usual, scoring goals at an absolute rate of knots, beating FC Isle of Man by 5 goals.
Can I just interrupt there, AJ?
Why?
Because we're going to take a controversial corner.
No, we're doing that now.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay.
Well, we're going to do the controversial corner. We just ran out of time in the first part of the show, didn't we? Because we had the interview.
So, I will allow it.
I was just... Basically, I was asking the question. A lot was made of what Jamie Carragher said on Super Sunday, Sky Super Sunday. He called a player brain dead. He obviously uses that terminology quite often, I believe. It's mainly a Scouse saying, isn't it? People often refer to people as being brain dead because they don't do as they're supposed to do. It's too much made of what pundits say, and are they actually making... in this modern era, they're making career-ending comments.
No, I don't think that's a career-ending comment. I've been called brain dead for much worse.
Yeah.
I think Jamie Carragher is just in his natural way of speaking and his natural way of analysing a game and a performance breakdown. He's decided to use that terminology, knowing full well that it isn't offensive in the same context as racism or homophobia or disability is. And I don't think anything needs to be made of that. I think Carragher's a decent enough punter and he's quite articulate, and I think that's just how he talks, and I've not a problem with it.
No, well, listen, at the context, I've been called a dickhead football club owner. So, you take it on the chin.
Well, this is it, yeah. So, no, I assume he was talking about a player that made a mistake, and even the player himself might end up agreeing that it was probably brain dead action anyway. So, no, I've no issue with it.
No. Listen, moving on to Bury. I don't know whether you've read much of the story, but they originally beat Wythenshawe Town 3-1 in the FA Trophy. Soon after it was determined that they'd fielded an ineligible player, they were reordered to play the game with less than 24 hours notice. The game got played on Tuesday night. They were fortunate to win the game 2-1. DJ Pedro scored the winner in the 93rd minute. It was a hastily organised game. There was a lot of players missing as such because people were either working away or working, just couldn't get the time off.
Yeah.
And like I say, what's been happening at Bury over sort of the last few years? Any option to criticise them? They've tried to bury them as much as they can, and it's basically about the incompetence of matchday secretaries and how they deal with the sort of the administration side of the football, and sometimes mistakes are made. On this particular occasion, what we have found out is that the FA portal isn't fit for purpose, and it's creating problems where it shouldn't. And I think if you look back in time, we've had issues ourselves when we had Andy Kanga at the football club. What happened with us, well, this is 2 seasons ago now, we found ourselves in a situation where one player was using multiple combinations of his name, and when you submitted one of them, it wasn't recognising that he'd played for different clubs. And then if you've got more than one fan number, the portal's not picking it up either. So the FA portal in essence is flawed, and that's part of the problem. So I felt really sorry for Bury Football Club because they were put in an unfortunate position, because what's happened, the player that they fielded played for, where was it he played? He played for AFC Foul last season against Barnet in the final game. He was sent off. Now, when you actually go on the portal, it doesn't tell you until after the player has made his debut that he's actually banned from the game. So he shouldn't have played.
Helpful.
So it's not helpful at all. So yeah, listen, I asked the question. I don't think there was much traction because I left it rather late, but was asking the question about what people felt about the portal and whether it was fit for purpose or not. And I'm just looking at the poll that we did. 80% said yes, the system does need an overhaul. But there's been no comments as such from secretaries. But secretaries have one of the most difficult jobs in a football club alongside a kit man.
Yeah, the logistics
us
are
mere
insane.
mortal chairmans, we're nothing compared to them.
You just stand at the game and do a lot of shouting.
Yeah, we can make a lot of mistakes. The likes of the club secretary can't. But it appears there's a multiple of ways to be caught out in a system which is flawed, and I would have thought that an organisation that's made millions of pounds and has huge amounts of profits could spend a little bit of time catching up on updating the system.
Is it a little bit of time though, or is it an enormous haul of software? I feel like for something this big, for the amount of leagues, for the amount of divisions, for the amount of counties, the amount of players it covers, without any real monitoring of the system either, you'd feel like this is a huge job. I mean, yeah.
I agree with you to a degree, but what I'd also say to you is that if one man can discover who another man is on Twitter by a pseudonym, then I'm pretty sure that the software, the hardware, whatever they need to do to tweak this system should be easy enough to filter all of those.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
Anyway, listen, it matters not because Bury managed to win and then the next round of the FA Trophy. So listen, best of luck to them.
Yes.
I'm moving on to, Skelmersdale United Football Club.
Yeah, Skelmersdale United Football Club, the jewel in our crown, the vehicle on which this podcast is run. So, as a lot of you may already know, Skelmersdale United took the decision to relieve Nick Matthews of his duties as manager of the club. Nick joined us in the summer along with John Barnes following a very successful interview at the time. However, the pre-season preparations did not get off to the greatest of starts, and then the domestic campaign, which did include an unfortunate loss to Joey Orrs and an excellent but ultimately moot result against FC King Harry. We followed that up with 2 successive defeats, both of them quite heavy in nature. So Nick was relieved of his duties on Tuesday night, and the news was then broken that Andy Barlow, who was a former player for Skem and a former assistant manager for Skem under Tommy Lawson last season, has now been appointed as the manager of the club for the remainder of the season. So with that in mind, we now have Andy Barlow and John Barnes, Josh Yell and Eve Brocklehurst as the management team, coach and physio behind the club going forward. So, Frank, do you want to give us a little bit more context and depth into the decision to relieve Nick of his duties?
Well, the question has been asked why.
Yes.
And it's a difficult one to answer. I mean, we talk about the amount of games that we played. We've had a relatively good pre-season schedule. Okay, the results haven't been good. Training has has been improved in terms of we do 2 hours a week as opposed to 1 hour last season. So in terms of preparation, the tools are there for the right management team to take that forward. And out of the 8 games that we've played so far, so we've had 5 pre-season friendlies, and we played 3 league matches that have ended up in results that count. FC
yes.
King Harry was the exception to that, which was a great result. But bearing in mind, we had 2 players from Ashton Town that played on that occasion because Ashton Town didn't have a game. So out of the 8 games, we've drawn 1 game, and that was against Newborough. I think it's fair to say, and fair to say too, from Nick's perspective, when the decision was made, and I spoke to him yesterday afternoon, to be precise, around about just before 3 o'clock. If it had been 12 months later for both of us, it would have been better. The preparation for Nick wasn't easy. It was never going to be an easy start for Nick. Nick has been dragged through a hedge backwards. For anybody that knows Nick personally, he had several operations before he rejoined the football club. He's expecting to have another operation as well. The trauma that bloke has gone through, in the last few months is unbelievable, and it's a decision that we felt necessary at the time. Not so much because of the results, but purely down to a sense of care, of duty towards Nick as well. And I'll always have a soft spot for Nick, and I maintain if we give him 12 months further down the line, if he did, the job had been available 12 months down the line, it might have been a totally different story. I think it was difficult for him. He realised pretty soon how difficult it was going to be for him. At the end of the day, I'm at the helm of the football club, whether people like it or they don't right now. Nobody else is prepared to take the reins or put the finances into the football club as I am. And I take the weight of everything on my shoulders. I just felt with a very, very short season, because there's only 26 league games. We played 3 of them. A decision had to be made quickly. It was. And like I said, I'd like to put on record our thanks towards Nick for all the hard work and effort he's put in. It wasn't an easy conversation because I know it was the job that Nick had always wanted, and he's since gone on record as saying that it was, at least he got to manage the club he always wanted to manage, and I think we just leave it there and we move on. We look at Saturday's defeat against Liverpool and Algo. I don't know what you made of it. I thought we were a lot better than we were in our defeat against Tsffs Athletic. So I didn't particularly agree with Nick's assessment in the video. I've told him that in the post-match video, and I've told the players equally that there's a lot of talent within that team, and I think they accept that they lack the experience because there's a lot of young lads there. But I think they've got the opportunity to express themselves now and move on, and with 1 or 2 signings, which I'm sure Andy Barlow, well, we know because we've been speaking to him before the show. We know that Andy and Barney are working really, really hard now to get a few signings over the line before Saturday. So I don't know what you made of the performance yourself.
I think we're sort of much on the same way. I think it was much better than the game against Sefton. I think we looked a bit fitter. We had a bit more prowess up front. I think players were able to express themselves a little better. I'm thinking Ray Bury in particular, one of the most expressive players that we've got, one of the most daring in terms of attacking prowess. He was eager to kind of showcase his skills. I thought the structure and the setup by utilising wing backs, I think that was quite helpful in trying to spread the play in certain departments. And I know Oba Odaro down our left side was seeing a lot of the ball, and that was creating some opportunities for us. And then see Cam O'Neill scored his first goal for the club. So there were positives to take from that game. I think the players would not argue with the notion that some mistakes were made. Our defensive positioning needed to be a lot better, and I think we maybe could have taken advantage of the fact that we were clearly a fitter team with more depth in reinforcements as well. We had 7 substitutes. They had 1.
I thought it was 3.
And well, it may have been 2.
Yeah,
but
they didn't come until late, did they?
They did, but one of them, who the very tall attacking substitute, was very influential, and he played a major part in the 3rd goal being scored, but kind of killed off any of our hopes. So there's still a lot to go on defensively, but there were positives.
Yeah, and CJ, of course, he made his debut. Yeah. He played against us in the Newborough game.
Did he? Right.
Yeah, he's a Schem lad, so he did particularly well as well. So
yes, he did.
That's a good start to his career at Schem. Listen, there was an incident towards the end of the game where Nalgo ran out of balls.
Yeah.
You might recall.
Certainly do.
From where I was standing, it didn't look as though they were making much of an effort to retrieve them. But had it not been for one of the officials who went to the changing rooms, I believe, to secure a football, he might have even gone to the game that was on the other side of the pitch
and just
nicked one. I mean, I did suggest that's possibly what we should have done, but it also did shout out, "This is a bit of a balls up this ref, isn't it?"
A little bit, yes, you did.
Yeah, I wonder what would have happened if they hadn't have retrieved the ball.
That'd be interesting. I mean, surely the game wouldn't have been called off. It would have been delayed until we'd found it, I suppose, because it was retrieved eventually, that ball. But nonetheless, it was a bit unprofessional.
Yeah, it certainly was. But listen, we had the same problem ourselves in our first home game at the Marine Travel Arena Stadium, because we lost a few balls ourselves.
We lost 6.
Then. We've lost a few balls while we've been training up at Ormskirk, because the balls have been clearing the very, very low fence, and they've ended up, if we've found them, we've been extremely unlucky, because a fair few of them have been burst. So we're losing balls left, right, and centre at the moment.
God,
it's going to be.
Worked so hard for all this sponsorship, and then it's actually going on balls.
Yeah, I think Paul Leary was telling me, or it might have been Richard. That was Richard Cross. That was telling me that one season they lost around about 83 balls.
God,
I know, yeah. So yeah, it is. But listen, what we'll do is now, before we go into the fixtures and predictions for the Northwest counties, we'll just take a quick look at the Liverpool County Premier League as it stands now. So the results that were played in the league itself: Waterloo Dock 1, Granby Toxteth Athletic 4. As we've mentioned there before, Liverpool now go 3, Skelmersdale United 1. Joey Oars lost their first game of the season, first game in 5. They were beat by the Grenadier by 3-1.
Yep.
Of course, the Grenadier at the top of the table now on goal difference, but with a game in hand. The only team now that hasn't scored any points at all besides ourselves is MSB Walton Reserves, and we will be playing them on Saturday.
I hate the fact that I'm missing that game.
Yeah, we're both missing the game for various reasons. We know you're entered into the Ironman competition in Wales.
Yeah.
So you've got your mind in other places. I'll be away on holiday.
You're going on your holidays.
Yeah.
You need to get somebody to stream the game.
Well, originally I was watching the game, but the time of the game got changed. It was going to be like a 1:15 kickoff originally, and then it's been changed to
3:30.
3:30, yeah.
Ugh.
So it's one of those. And listen, just to note that the fixture next week, the 27th of September, which should have been played at the Marine Travel Arena Stadium, has now been switched to Waterloo Dock because Marine are involved in FA Cup action.
And they're at home, so we'll be playing...
So they take precedence over us.
They do, so we'll be playing Waterloo Dock at Lower Brecks Stadium on Lower Brick Road.
Yeah. And the only other two fixtures in the Liverpool County Premier League are the Grenadier versus Waterloo Dock, which should give us some indication of the gap between those two, considering we'll be playing Waterloo Dock soon. And Daysbrook FC will be at home to Liver Academy. Just looking at there's not much between them two. Daysbrook on 6 points and Liver Academy on 2. Well, there is a bit of a difference, 2 points. So Liver Academy have played 3, they've drawn 2 and lost 1. Apart from that, Liverpool now go after beating us on Saturday. They've managed to move up into 3rd place above Sefton Athletic now, who didn't play on Saturday, and they're on 10 points. So the top 3 teams now, there's 2 points between them.
There are. There's 2 points between them. Sefton Athletic further back on 9 points, but having only played 3 games with a perfect 3 wins from that. So I think, reasonably speaking, we've played 3 of the top 4 teams in the league. 3 very established squads, 3 talented squads that would provide a difficult day, regardless of our preparation and organisation. So we hope very much to begin to close the gap on these teams. Remember, we only need to finish in the top 5 to be eligible for promotion, and the only other team that we've figured out that are eligible for promotion at this time is Halewood Apollo, who sit in 11th. So
that could change as the season goes on.
Yes, most certainly. But for now,
bearing in mind the deadline will still be the 31st of March, come what may anyway.
Yeah. So the top 5 is where we aim to be, and we start that journey under Andy Barlow's stewardship against MSP Walton Reserves this Saturday.
And I think I can announce that Darren Askew has re-signed for the football club, so he should be in the squad for Saturday. Yeah, good news there.
Most certainly good news. There were concerns about his fitness and his knee, his long-standing knee problems, but he's put all that aside to him. He's confirmed that he's capable.
Well, he's physically fit. He keeps himself fit anyway. He's a fine specimen of a man, bit like my good self. You know what I mean? So yeah, he looks after himself. So we're looking forward to seeing Darren back.
We most certainly are. Well, we won't see him this Saturday, but nonetheless,
we're looking forward to seeing him back in a Skem jersey when we get round to it. Yes. So listen, should we start on and have a look at the fixtures in the Northwest Counties and give our valuable input and insight into our expert analysis. Of course, there's not many games in the domestic side of things because we return to FA Vars action. So listen, what we'll do is we'll look at the fixtures tonight, but we're recording on a Wednesday, so South Liverpool versus Abbey Hay. Probably looking at an Abbey Hay victory for that.
Against South Liverpool, I'm going to say a draw there.
That's fair enough. I can understand why, because there's not much difference between the two of them. So in Division 1 South, last night, Barnton versus Asheville. So predictions on that.
So Barnton sitting in 7th, Asheville in 12th. Barnton seem to have the stronger run of results recently. So I'm going to say Barnton.
Yeah, I'll go along with you. I'll go for Barnton as well. And Friday, so listen, we're going to Friday, which is ahead of us rather than at us. So Market Drayton Town versus Shawbury United.
Yeah, I mean, to all intents and purposes, I think we're going to back Dan Dawson on this one. They were quite unlucky to lose the game against Sandbach United earlier on this week, so I expect them to make a recovery out of that one against Shawbury, even with Shawbury's fine recent form.
Yeah, they're doing a lot better than last season, aren't they? But listen,
certainly are.
Yeah, we've got a soft spot for market rating, as you say. So we're going to go for market rating, both of us?
Certainly are, yes.
Brilliant, okay.
So what we will do with the Isuzu FA Vars second qualifying round, we won't go through all of the fixtures because we simply don't know all the teams. But we'll pick our favourites, pick out the standout fixtures, and we will predict those. So for me, the one that jumps straight out is
the top of
the top one. Yeah, AFC Liverpool versus Daisy Hill. So
both strugglers.
Both strugglers in their own rights, yeah, but AFC Liverpool coming off the back of that wicked win against FC Isle of Man, the 5-1 win. Caleb Jones once again being on the score sheet for the hosts, while Daisy Hill under new management in the form of Nicky Hunt, not getting off to the best start, but without a doubt eager to make a bit of a foray into in the FA Vars competition. So I would say AFC Liverpool for this game. What do you think?
Listen, I think it's going to be a tight one. I think Daisy Hill have made one or two new signings, and it's got to come together at some stage, isn't it? Otherwise, Nicky, it is Nicky, isn't it?
Yeah, Nicky.
Yeah, Nicky. He's got a bit of a tough job on his hands.
Well, I think he knows that he's got a bit of a tough job anyway, but he's certainly using his influence to bring in a few players. Most pertinently for me, he's brought in Connor Hughes, the forward from Darwin, who was making some serious waves in front of goal last season. So they may very well hit the ground running on this one. But nonetheless, I'll prompt for AFC Liverpool.
Yeah, I'll go along with you there.
Okay.
FH and a J. Looking further down the Barnoldswick Town, I don't know whether they've actually brought a manager in yet.
I haven't heard that.
They're still waiting for a new manager. Yeah. The new manager to be announced there. They've got Sunderland West End on Saturday at 3 o'clock. That's at the Silent Night Stadium. So I'm going to go for Barnoldswick on that. No. Knowing a great deal about Sunderland, to be fair.
No. Neither do I. So,
no.
Yeah.
Really good fixture there at the Emplas Commercial North Stadium. Chadderton versus Wakefield.
Yeah, again,
Chadderton doing really, really well at the moment.
Chadderton are making
it's difficult to see anybody else win that other than them.
Quite, yeah. City of Liverpool versus Charnock Richard, an all Premier Division affair. I know City of Liverpool have made some good strides in their last couple of games, but
topsy-turvy, aren't they?
Yeah, Charnock Richard are a bit of a different animal, so. That being said, I'm going to go an away win. I think Charnock Richard will do business there.
Yeah, I'm going to go for City of Liverpool.
Fine.
Yeah, so moving further down, that's anything catching your nose?
Exton Villa at home to Sandbach United. So Exton Villa promoted from Division 1 North to the Premier Division last season. Sandbach United beaten semi-finalists from Division 1 South. I think that's a bit of a clash that we'd look forward to on any given day. And I think Villa will triumph there. So home win.
I'm going to go for Sandbach on that one.
Okay.
But my reasoning behind that is, well, if you take the top best teams in both of the North and South, they always tend to pull off a shock victory against Premier League teams. So that's the reason why I'm going for Sandbach.
Fine.
Fullwood Amateurs making their first foray in the FA Vars in a really, really tough game against Kendal Town. Yeah,
that's a rude awakening for them. That's not how they'd like to be experiencing FA Vars football for the first time. Kendal Town, a bit of heavyweights in the... where are they? Are they in the northern...
They ended up getting moved over, didn't they? They got laterally moved to the Northern League.
Yeah, they did. But they were very good whilst they were down in our neck of the woods. So away win for me.
Yeah, I'm going for Kendal Town, even though Fullwood have made a really good start in the counties.
Yeah.
So moving further down, Holker Old Boys versus Route 1 Rovers.
Yeah.
I'm going for Holker.
Holker Old Boys, they were beaten semi-finalists in the competition in the Division 1 North last season versus Route 1 Rovers, who finished third from bottom of the Division 1 North last season, but then were laterally moved into the northeast counties. So I'm going to go for Holker Old Boys because it's a home fixture and they are quite rough at home.
And what other teams do you want to pick out of there? There's a few.
Yeah, there is. So I'm going to talk to you.
I think Earlham, Baker Borough, I think that's Earlham.
Yeah.
I
think that's Earlham, yeah. And Stockport Town versus Runcorn Town, the two Division 1 south sides. I'd say Runcorn Town on that one.
But just going slightly back up, McGull versus Northwich Victoria.
Oh,
that's
excellent.
an interesting tie, isn't it?
That's a very interesting tie, yeah. So Joey Burns and McGull doing some serious bits in Division 1 North, where Northwich Victoria are a couple of divisions up, aren't they?
Are they the same ones? I don't know. Should really do my homework on that.
I know. So we don't have a script writer or.
There won't be a couple of divisions higher, will there? Because it's step 5 below.
Yeah.
So they could be one step above us. They could be in
potentially
the Premier Division of their division. You look that up while I waffle through the rest of it. But listen, I'm going to go for McGull anyway because I think McGull are doing particularly well at home. They're having a great season anyway, so I'm going to go for them. You've got New Mills versus Wythenshawe. I think Wythenshawe are going to win that for my money. I don't know what you think there.
Sorry, Wythenshawe against New Mills. Yeah, I think that's a Wythenshawe win there.
Yeah, you mentioned, or we didn't mention, Ramsbottom versus Glasshorton Welfare. Glasshorton Welfare are a team that we played in the FA Vars before. I think we beat them last time we played them. So I'm going for Ramsbottom for that one as well.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I would, I'm going to say Ramsbottom as well. So they're in. So just going back to Northwich Victoria versus McGull. Northwich Victoria are currently in the Midland League Premier Division.
Right. Okay. So the one division
above where they finished
McGull,
11th out of 18 teams. So with that in mind, I'm still going to back Joey Burns and his McGull troops.
Good. Listen, now the oldest football club in the world is Sheffield.
Yes, they are.
So I believe. And they are at home to Burscough at the Coaching Horses ground. I wonder if there's a pub nearby.
Oh, I think there's got to be.
Yeah. So where do you see that one going?
Oldest club in the world, but they are not having a great time of it at the minute, whereas Burscough are. Just put simply, that's a away win for me.
I'll go for that. Stafford Town, after the defeat, resounding defeat by Telford Town, they'll be looking to get back to winning ways at the Evans Park Stadium against AFC Bridgnorth. I'm going to go for Stafford.
You're going to back Stafford on that one. Yeah, so will I. Okay.
And probably to round it off there, Thornton Cleveland's versus Cone. I've got a feeling Thornton Cleveland's going to do the business.
As do I.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we'll look onto the Macron Cup. There's only one tie there in the first round. It's Abbey Hay versus Stockport Georgians.
Yeah. So Abbey Hay play on the Wednesday night, whereas Stockport Georgians have a little bit of a rest. So
it's Premier Division versus Division 1 South.
Yeah, it is.
But you know, with Abbey Hay, Stockport Georgians, they're having a fairly decent season at the moment. They're in third place.
Yeah, they're in third place.
And Abbey Hay is struggling a little bit. I've got a feeling that might be a Stockport Georgians win.
Yeah, so do I.
Right. And a really, really interesting time now in the Premier Division of the Northwest Counties. Atherton LR that are doing particularly well. Listen, they had there was no surprise they're getting beaten by Macclesfield 3-0. They can hold their heads up high. They've had a good run in the FA Cup. Unfortunately, it's come to an end. But they've got a difficult game, really, against FC St Helens.
Yeah, they do. So FC St Helens are a team that we've always known to have a serious challenge within them. They're currently sitting 5th in the Premier Division, 6 wins.
I don't think they had the greatest of starts, did
They
they?
didn't. They had a bit of a tricky start, but they're starting to pull it together. Mike Smith and his side. Atherton are 8 games and 5 wins from that one. So they are, not exactly level pegging. There's a 4-point gap, but FC St Helens having played 2 games more on home territory, and bear in mind both sides play on grass. I am going to go for a Atherton LR win, but only just.
Yeah, I'll follow you with that. Definitely going for Atherton LR. Good luck to David Jones.
Certainly.
Litherland Remaker versus South Liverpool. An interesting derby at the Litherland Sports Park. I've got a feeling this might be the game where Litherland start getting their act together. So I'm going to go for a Litherland victory.
I think they'll start to turn a corner, but I don't think a win is there yet. So I'm going to go for a draw.
I thought you might. Pilks versus FC Isle of Man. You can't see the Isle of Man picking up any points.
I'm afraid not.
Well, they do occasionally,
So
yeah, I'm going for Pilks.
Yeah.
West Didsbury and Chadderton versus Glossop North End now. Step Places Stadium.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think this is a particularly horrible game for Brodie and his boys. West Didsbury away from home is never nice at all. They're well backed in hundreds and almost thousands. I do expect West Didsbury and Chadderton to win that game.
Yeah, listen, you're going for that. I'm gonna back Brodie's team. I'm going for Glossop North End. Yep.
All right.
So moving on to Division 1 North.
Yeah.
Ashton Athletic versus MSB Walton. MSB Walton not doing too bad. Not doing too well, I should say. They're just above Ashton Athletic at the bottom of the league. Ashton Athletic, but it's the 2 bottom teams playing each other.
It is the 2 bottom teams playing each other. So they're both stuck on 3 points, but MSB Walton are the team that haven't won a game yet, whereas Ashton Athletic have won at the start of the season against Daisy Hill. So with that in mind, and particularly with the return of some players to their squad, I do expect a bit of an improvement for Ashton Athletic. So I am going to go for a home win.
Okie doke. Ashton Town versus AFC Blackpool. I'm going for Ashton Town.
Yeah,
Ashton Athletic as well, sorry. But I'm going for Ashton Town on this one.
Yeah, so Ashton Town managing to do a great job against Holker Old Boys, nicking a last-minute win away from home there. So I think they'll follow with a really good win against AFC Blackpool, who are sort of struggling to pull points together at this time.
Main Road versus Steeton, top of it. Not much between the 2 teams.
Sixth versus 4th
versus 6th.
4th versus 6th. Main Road have sort of crept up on us, really. We weren't expecting them to do as well as what they are doing. No. So there's only a points difference between them. So with that in mind, I'm going to say a draw.
Yeah, I'm going for a draw as well. Makes sense, doesn't it? Division 1 South, only 2 fixtures in that.
Yeah.
Camelhead versus Cheadle Heath Nomads.
I'm going to say a draw for that one.
Yeah, make it easy and go for a draw as well. Wolverhampton Casuals versus Telford Town. Telford Town without a shadow of doubt. Another cup fixture in the FA Vars, the second qualifying round, is on Sunday. Campion versus Padiham.
Never heard of Campion, so let's back Padiham.
Yeah, let's go for them. I'm moving swiftly into next week's early fixtures.
Yeah.
Tuesday the 23rd of September in the Premier Division, Barnoldswick Town versus Stockport Town. I'm going for Stockport Town.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Stockport Town.
Chadderton versus West Didsbury and Chadderton sounds like a mouth-watering fixture, doesn't it?
One, yeah. I'm still gonna say Chadderton for this one though.
I'm going for a draw.
Right.
Draw for me, and you're going for Chadderton.
Yes.
Cheadletown versus Glossop North End.
Now I am going to back Brodie on this one because I do see a way that they could win this game against Cheadle. So
right, I'm going for Glossop as well, so that's easy enough.
Very well.
City of Liverpool versus FC St Helens. I just don't know how to call this one at all. But I've got a feeling that City of Liverpool might win it.
I'm going to call that for an away win, so I think FC St Helens for that one.
Earlham versus Wythenshawe.
Wow, that's a South Manchester battle.
Top six. Third versus sixth.
Yeah, whereas Wythenshawe, they're coming up strong after a bit of a shaky start.
I'll go for a draw.
I am also going to go for a draw.
Longridge Town versus Atherton LR. Atherton LR for me.
Yeah. Now this one.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I think I listened to one of Dave Dempsey's interviews, and he said we've got some tough games coming up, but it'll give us an indication of whether we're in a good position or a false position. I think based on the fact that they probably could have sneaked a draw against Ramsbottom had Sam Sheen not been sent off. I don't think they're far away. I think they're there or thereabouts, but I think Padiham give them a little bit more of a question.
Yeah, they are
to ask,
particularly in a home game as well.
Answer,
you know, it's going to be well backed by Storks fans. That being said, they're both on a bit of a rough run of late. I'm going to say a draw.
AJ's going for a draw. I'm backing Dempsey, and I'm going to say he's going to get a win. Prestwich Hayes versus Charnock Richard.
Yeah, two teams that have a decent game in them, aren't doing quite as well as what their performances would indicate. I'm going to say a draw.
Yeah, Prestwich Hayes are having a reasonably good run at the moment, so I'm going to go for Prestwich Hayes. AJ's going for a draw. Exton Villa versus Ramsbottom. An interesting fixture yet again. Yeah, but Exton are not doing particularly well.
They're a bit up and down at the minute. They seem to have one good result through like a creditable draw and then just lose the next game or something like that. So for me, Ramsbottom are a bit more consistent in that department, so I am going to go an away win.
Right, I'm going for Ramsbottom as well. And the only fixture remaining for next week, early next week, is the Cheshire Senior Cup first round, Nantwich Town versus Camelaird. Obviously,
I can only really see Nantwich
there's
winning
a different
that one.
level in teams. Them going for Nantwich Town.
Yeah.
So that rounds up the expert analysis.
Certainly does.
And listen, we wish all our neighbours and friends the best of luck.
Most certainly.
And hope you have a really competitive weekend, and best of luck to those in the FA Vars, because it's the one sort of last competition where you can still dream. Chadderton have still got their dreams, nicely, brightly shining as they go into the next round of the FA Cup. But for those at our level now, certainly within the Premier Division of our league, they've got just as much chance of winning the FA Vars as anybody else. And it'll be good to see how competitive our Northwest Counties is in comparison to some Step 5 and 6 leagues right across the country. So best of luck to all. Hope you earn a few bob in the process. It's always nice to bring a few bob in for your club as well. So best of luck to everybody. So what have we learned this week so far?
Goodness me. I think what we've learned is you have to make the impossible decisions that you know are going to be good for the longevity of the club, even if they're ones that are going to receive an awful backlash. You have to kind of put the club first. I think that's what I've learned this week in terms of what our own club has experienced from Matty Boswell's experiences at Telford Town, and I suppose as well what Sporting Khalsa have experienced in their own game as well. So that's what I've learned this week. Frank?
Yeah, well, pretty much similar. I mean, it takes a lot to trying to think of the right words without swearing, really, but it's hard to piddle on somebody's dreams. Should have put it that way. And I know it's the brutal part of this this game is making decisions, as you've just said before, but somebody has to make them, and whether we agree with them or not, we're the custodians of the football club, and we've got to make those brutal decisions. Nick will have his own his own reasons or his own feelings as to whether it was right or wrong, I'm pretty sure he would have preferred to have longer in the job. Every manager would. But we're caught sometimes between a rock and a hard place, because sometimes when we give managers too long, we're criticised for that. And then when we do the complete opposite and make cutthroat decisions, we're criticised as equally for that as well. So I think sentiment, love, caring, all of those things play a big part in football, and I do feel sorry for Nick, and I wish him the best of luck and hope that he gets back on the sort of non-league bus at some stage pretty quick, and I'm pretty sure he'll leave it until he's had his next operation. He'll go fishing, and he'll enjoy his free time. He's earned it. Like I said, it probably, when you look back on it, it was 12 months too early for Nick, and I think he'd even agree with that himself. So yeah, it's been a difficult week, and I've just learned that sometimes you've just got to continue making those decisions, and sort of ride the storm, and no doubt ride the storm, as I often do. You can't win either way, but listen, that's what football's all about, unfortunately. But listen, I'll leave the final words once again to the, and I can't say it this time because, well,
I'm
going to leave the final words to the dulcet tones of AJ.
You've been listening to the Speaking Frankly Football Show with me, AJ Vajet, and my co-host, Mr. Frank Hughes. This podcast is available on most streaming services, wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify and Amazon Music. Please rate and review, as we do thrive on hearing your feedback. Please also subscribe so that you can find out when a new episode of the show has been released. We are also on social media sites, most pertinently X and Facebook, under the banner term Speaking Frankly Football Show. So by all means, give us a like and a follow on there. And so from me, AJ and Frank, thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next week for another episode of the Speaking Frankly Football Show. Until then, bye-bye for now.